Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Hello, hello. So today I'm asking you to, whoa, little slip there on the computer, asking you to join me. Let me get the lighting right. I'm going to talk today about how to propagate summer basil. And also, here's my summer basil. Basil is not really, yeah, it is summer. Why does it feel like spring? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you about how to propagate that so you can get lots more, lots more basil from this kind of plant for the rest of the summer. So you only need to buy a plant once. That's really cool. And then I thought you could join me while I make a soup, a red lentil soup, which is so super quick and easy. And it's like my go-to soup. I have it all the time. Maybe because it's, been a constant in Turkey and I can always find it and find all the ingredients that go with it. But it's so super quick and easy. Let me shut off my phone or shut it down. And if you guys have questions, you can ask them in the sidebar to the right of your screen. So please go ahead and do that if you want, and I'll try to answer them. So just trying to make sure you can see. No, that's too bright. No, maybe that'll work. Okay. It's a lot of getting this right. Okay, I think that's better. All right, so first, let's talk about the basil. Basil is a staple herb for me. If you like Italian food, like I do, you'll want a pot of basil in your house, in your garden, every summer. There's different kinds of basils. I understand there's purple basil, Thai basil, globe basil. I don't know. I'm a purist when it comes to a lot of things, and basil is one of those. Like, I just want the typical traditional Italian basil because it's aromatic, it's tasty, it's easy for me to process, and it's super easy to propagate. So propagate just means to grow more of. So let me show you how I do that. Super easy. You won't believe it. And, even if you don't have an outdoor garden, as long as you have a window, it doesn't even have to be in the kitchen, just a window where it's kind of warm, then they should be fine. So even if you're not in a Mediterranean climate, the roots of these plants will grow. I found it's been done a lot faster in a place like Turkey just because it's just the climate, right? It's just, it's favorable for it. But when I was in Chicago, I did this too, as long as I just put these stems I'm going to show you, right into a warm window. And it's kind of more direct light, not so indirect. So I was already doing this with some rosemary. Rosemaries are woody, so they're kind of hard to propagate. But if you take the bottom leaves off and then have a bare stem, you can just, put them in water. And I'm doing that with two. I've never really had a lot of luck with this. I've tried doing this in water. I've tried doing it in dirt, and both times it was really difficult. So I'm trying it again because I keep trying. That's what gardeners do. So you want some fresh water. It should be cool. And really, you just need some good sharp scissors or a good sharp knife. Now, I'm looking for the longer kind of, well, you can't see. Let me put you over here. So I'm looking for the longer, sort of straggly stems. So this plant really needs to be cut because if I don't cut it, they're just going to be lanky, long and lanky. So plants have to be cut to keep growing. You can't just look at them. They're meant to be used, especially, these herbs. So I take a stem like this, and here are some leaves that, they need to come off because they're really big. And actually, I can cook with these right now. I can put them in some olive oil. I can and preserve them. The best way I know to preserve basil is to, you can either chop it up or just crush them a little bit and put them in an ice cube tray with some oil on top and then freeze them. That's in my website, myhellokitchen.com. I did that years ago because it's just the simplest way to store basil. And if you don't do that and it gets wet and, leave it on the counter, it's going to turn black. So you kind of really lost it. I like to pinch off all these big leaves because they're meant to be used. Those smaller ones will grow. And I think I just snapped this off. Ugh, okay. Well, we'll put it there. The stem part is what we want anyway. So wait, I need cool water. And I keep going and doing that with all the lanky ones. So here we go. I'm getting like a nice pile of leaves, and I'm afraid to cut that off again. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. And here's another lanky one. Now this plant here is gonna get nice and bushy, I think, because I'm basically pruning it so that it has, more room to grow. So what happens is when you don't cut these, they just, all the energy of the plant goes into leaves that are full and they should be picked. So when you start cutting or pinching off leaves, let's say you don't want to cut the stem, you can just pinch off the leaves, then they're not wasting energy on things that are already full grown. They're putting their energy into the smaller leaves that need to be growing. So I'm just gonna go around the whole plant, and it's a very therapeutic thing to do. I love my plants so much. I love getting up in the morning and checking on them and seeing what's grown, and it's just such a joy. They're kind of like like your, I don't know, kids or pets or something. They're just, they belong to you, and you're taking care of them and nurturing them. So you want to see them grow. So I'm going to keep going because look at all these huge leaves. I mean, when I bought this plant, it was really nice and healthy. And so I did this on purpose, knowing that I was going to be pruning it and propagating. So within like maybe a week or so, I mean, in Turkey, I have had the best luck with my basil. I bought one plant, and that plant gave me all my other plants because I propagated that stems from one plant. Wait a minute. Yeah, it was one plant, and I bought some from the bazaar, the market. And the thing with that is, excuse me, they're non-GMO, so they'll grow. If they're GMO plants, good luck. I don't think they're gonna grow. So, and some of these I don't want to propagate because they're, some of them are not that huge. So the lankier ones are the ones that I'm cutting, the ones that are just like really scrawny. And see, look at that huge plant, that huge leaf. Just what needs to come out. So, here I like to use clear jars because then I can see when the roots are growing. That's very exciting. And there's a lot of lanky ones in here. Just imagine how many more plants you can get. You can give them away to friends, or just totally fill your garden, That's my aim, is to just have like a really lush garden one day. Gardens take time, they're labors of love. Even if it's just a balcony garden, my mom has hundreds, well, feels like hundreds of plants, but she does them in a room. She does them in her balcony, or no, I say not her balcony, but like a little porch, I do them on my balcony in pots, and I just get so much joy from that. So there's more here. So I'm basically just cleaning up this plant, giving it some oxygen. It needs to breathe. It needs to have space. It needs to be nurtured better by not having to spend so much of its energy on things that just don't need it anymore. So we should be consuming those big leaves. Okay, so the plant looks less full, and that's a good thing. So, look at how much this one plant gives you. It's amazing. So we've got all of these that can be new plants. I mean, there's like, I don't know, maybe 15 in there. I'm going to put that in a window. This plant is looking a lot more sparse, but has more room to grow things. It'll be healthier. And I've got all these basil leaves now that I can put away. I'm going to use some of them tonight. I'll probably chop them into my lentil soup, a few. And the rest will go into some olive oil in the freezer. That's it. So, all right. Next, if you want to learn a really quick lentil soup recipe, I've got the one for you. Since I've been in Turkey, have been using this red pepper paste on just about everything, and it tastes so good in my lentil soup. So what I'm using is basically just onion at the base. If you have tomatoes, that's fine. I'm out of tomatoes. And I'm going to add tomato paste and red pepper paste to the soup. So I'm not going to use any garlic. You can, but I just don't want to. I have onion, tomato paste, red pepper paste. I don't know why they call them red lentils, because they're really like orange. And a whole bunch of spices. So I've got like ground pepper, black pepper, sea salt, mint, cumin, and a little bit of oregano, parsley. Yeah, so it's a lot of great spices. That's what I like. So every time you cook, you really should sharpen your knife. They have these, small kind of travel ones. Well, they're not really meant to be travel ones, but I take them with me when I travel because I'm always cooking in places. Seriously, I have a whole like a kitchen gadget travel kit that I take with me, and that goes in there because there's nothing worse than dull knives when you're cooking. And it doesn't need to be complicated. See how easy it goes now? That's because the knife is sharp. So I don't want all those onions. I'm not making a huge batch of this, and you can make a small batch, you can make a large batch, it's really up to you. I'm just sort of mincing the onion. I don't want it to be super thick, thick onions, because then you bite into an onion. So you really want to mince it as much as possible. You can, at the end of this, use an immersion blender to puree the soup, or you can put it into a blender. And my immersion blender sort of died in Turkey, so I have been just mashing the soup with a potato masher and calling it a day, because I really didn't want to go out and get a new blender just at the moment. So it's amazing the things you just work with when you just come across a situation. It's fine. It's totally fine. The world's not going to end because we couldn't blend up the soup the way we wanted. And it still tastes great. But it does taste better blended, I have to say. Okay, so it's about a half a cup of onion. I think that's plenty. And if I had tomatoes, I would peel the skins and throw them in. And, dice them up and throw them in. Or chop them, roughly chop them. All right, now time to heat up some olive oil gently. You never want to do this. Now we're going to go this way. You never want to heat the pan with nothing in it. So You must have something in it. And I don't want this to be cooking too high because I don't want to ruin the olive oil. Very gentle. It's already getting hot. Okay, so let me open up the bag of lentils. I don't know about you guys in the kitchen, but sometimes it's really hard to be organized. It's really hard to clean as you cook. I know that's like the rule number one in culinary school is clean as you cook. And I have a hard time with that one. But it does work better. Life does get better when you clean as you cook, because then your kitchen is clean at the end of your cooking session. Coffee's always on because I always have coffee throughout the day. It's not the best habit. I'm actually trying to break it and do more tea, herbal tea. Sometimes, you just crave a certain thing. My thing is coffee, but I'm switching to decaf, or half decaf, half regular, because caffeine is too much. Okay, so super simple. So I'm just adding the onion. Turn this up just a little bit. I love this soup the next day too, because it really, it's the spices have like some time to sort of marinate in there, and then it just tastes even better. You can add some garlic here too, of course. I just like it really simple. Onion, tomato paste, red pepper paste, lentils, excuse me, and a few spices. All right. So red lentils, I'm not putting them in just yet. I'm going to let this warm up a little, let the onion cook, and then I'm actually going to saute the lentils a little bit in there so that they, I don't know, they just like kind of pop out a little bit. They're just, I don't like to just throw them into to water or anything like that. I don't like the flavor. There's no flavor. So this is my favorite way. These lentils you don't have to typically wash or soak, because they cook really fast in their own liquid, in the liquid in the soup. But like brown lentils, you typically have to soak them ahead of time, because they just take longer. I mean, you don't have to, but you'll be waiting a long time for them to cook. So that's why when I'm really busy and really hungry, I like to make this kind of soup, because it's just so fast. So let's see. In this soup, I really like dried herbs, because for some reason they taste better. Except when I'm serving it. When I'm serving it, I like to serve with some olive oil and maybe some fresh parsley or dill. But the dried is fine too. You can do a lot of things on top. A little saffron, that would be nice. So they're nice and soft. I don't know if you can see. Let's see. Yeah, nice and soft. And this is 1/3 of a cup. But I'm going to put 1 cup of lentils. I don't make really big pots of this because I make this a lot. So it goes really fast, and but you could double, triple, quadruple this recipe so easily. So they kind of like pop a little bit, like almost like popcorn, but not too much. I'm really watching this. This is not the dish to kind of step away from it. Okay, so I'm going to work kind of fast, and I'm totally eyeballing here because I'm going to taste it as well. There's no meat in here, so we can taste. A little bit of black pepper. You can do freshly ground. That would be even nicer. This is what I have. Some sea salt. And we'll adjust for salt and pepper later. I'm watching it, and if it starts to get a little bit too dry, then I'll add some water. But for now, I'm just going to keep adding my spices. Oh, I've got to have a little bit of chili pepper or IGB, but even better is to just take one of these peppers and throw it in. I could even do two because I really love spice, but I won't punish myself that way. I've got some parsley flakes. I should put all of these in glass jars, but I haven't had a chance. I just really love the parsley. And mint. Definitely have to have mint. And some cumin. My hands are clean. I'm the only one cooking, so. Oh, it smells really nice. Okay, now I'm going to add some water and then the pepper paste and tomato paste. Oh, see, it smells really, really good. We're going to be here a while because I don't have a big pitcher. Now, this is a I totally eyeball this stuff, but this is about 2 cups of water. And I might add more. Okay. I personally think that tomato paste and red pepper paste is a must. That's just my feeling. 1 heaping tablespoon of the tomato paste and 1 heaping teaspoon of the red pepper paste. And then I'm going to eyeball to see the color, so that it has to get in there. You can take a whisk. A whisk would be even better. Let's see if I have mine. Let's see. Yeah. A whisk is even better. Just get it all in there. And I like this color, so I think that's enough. That was like two heaping tablespoons of red pepper and tomato paste combined. So I'm just going to let that thicken up. I'm going to let it get thick. I'm going to let it cook for about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. You can add some more chili powder, IGB rare, which is the hot pepper. If you like that, I like that a lot. In the winter when I make this, I do it with butter instead of olive oil. And it's got a just, a little bit of a heavier taste, but I think that's what we need in the winter. All right, so that's it. That's it. If you guys have questions, I will answer them now while this is cooking. So I'm turning it down to about medium-low while it does that. While it does its thing. It smells so delicious, and I cannot wait to have it for dinner. I really have to put all these in glass jars. They're not, I don't like anything in plastic. But I bought a whole bunch of new spices, and I like to use them up, and I really do use my spices up a lot. Within 6 months, you really should use most spices. Otherwise, it's just, they don't have any potency. So, whoops. that's it, pretty much. Now, I never wear an apron in the kitchen, and then I wish I had once I get everything dirty. So, let's see, where's my wooden spoon? Yeah, so that's pretty much, it's got a long way to go. See, it looks too watery, and so it's got to have to thicken up, and it will thicken up. You don't need any flour, nothing. It will thicken. If you want it less red, you can do that too. You can just, I mean, you can use less of the pastes in there. That's fine. You know, if you have chicken stock, put it in. I made fish stock yesterday. Some of you may have seen it on my live. But, you know, and I could have added it here, but I didn't, you know. And if you really just want a lentil dish instead of soup, you can just let like most of the moisture out of this. And just, it can just be a side dish if you want. So I'm going to look at this in like, you know, another 10, 15 minutes and see if I want to add any more liquid to make it more soupy. I will. And that's it. So really, you know, oh, and you really should taste it too, because you want to check for salt. You never want to add salt after a dish is done, because then it tastes salty. So you want to taste it now and add and adjust for the flavor. Yeah, see, it needs salt and it needs pepper, in my opinion. It would help if I took the lid off. And maybe just a tiny, actually I can taste the pepper now. So, no, I think we're good. That's it. That's it. That's all. Okay, as they say in Turkish, afiyet olsun. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and you can share it with your friends. And I will post a final picture of the soup in my Instagram account, instagram.com/myhellokitchen. All right. See you later, guys. Bye-bye. Assalamu alaikum.